So tell us a little bit about your film, of course.
The film's called Killing Patient Zero, and it's essentially telling the story of the AIDS epidemic and the homophobia behind it, how the epidemic was allowed to happen, through the story of Gaëtan Dugas, who's the French-Canadian airline steward who was wrongly accused of being the patient zero of the AIDS epidemic. And so this film helps to correct that wrong and show that he was just like any other gay man of that period, and nothing special, and not by any means patient zero.
Why did you feel that this is a time to actually do a film such as this?
It's been over 35 years since the AIDS epidemic started, and it's time to sort of remember that this is a war that never had an armistice. It's something where 800,000 gay men died, and it gave rise to a lot of the civil rights that we have today as gay people. But it's a story that's not known, which shocks me, that kind of, a gay Holocaust was allowed to happen. And it's time that people remembered that. And, of course, it's so important to clear this man's name from, all the infamy that was heaped upon him, and his family suffered. And so it's setting right this record.
And then it just got awful. It got worse and worse and worse from that moment on. I wish I'd never heard that term, gay cancer.
I was totally paranoid and scared shitless. I was in a state of perpetual paranoia, and so was everybody. Everybody thought, oh my God, I've got it.
AIDS didn't just happen, it was allowed to happen.
Essentially, Gaëtan in Vancouver was the personage, the face of AIDS. And it just seems so ludicrous.
As a documentary filmmaker, of course, going to a period such as the past, I know that a lot of filmmakers and documentary filmmakers love going through the archives. So tell us a little bit about that experience, of course.
Well, so it is an extraordinary journey going through archival for a documentary, because there are events that, I'm 60 this year, and I lived through the AIDS epidemic, and I lived in New York in the height of it, but I'm seeing footage and stuff that I never saw at the time. And it's fascinating, it's eye-opening, and it's a privilege, actually, to revisit some of this footage that's been buried for years. So it's one of the most exciting, it's a good question, it's one of the most exciting things about doing a film like this.
What were, so segue to that, what were some of the challenges you had in doing this film? Were a lot of people reluctant to discuss this matter with you?
It's an interesting challenge with this story, because the family of patient zero, Gaëtan Dugas, have maintained a very principled silence ever since the story broke in 1987, and I deeply respect that. And we were in touch with them, but they felt it was better not to participate in the film. So that's been an interesting challenge, to create a portrait of someone without the family. But I feel like the film does achieve that through friends and colleagues who worked with Gaëtan, and even lovers of his. But it's an interesting thing, and I'm very much hoping that the film will start some healing for the family.
What were some of the shocking facts that you discovered while doing this film?
I think,
or not to give the film away, of course.
Sure. I think one of the most shocking things that I wasn't aware of is there's a White House press conference from 1982, October 15th, 1982, at which point 600 gay men have died from AIDS. And the White House press secretary has not heard of AIDS, and they laugh about it. The whole press pool is laughing about it, and it symbolizes the homophobia of the Reagan government. The Reagan administration famously did nothing for 6 years, and Reagan never mentioned the word AIDS until something like 20,000 people had died.
Tell us how important this film is to be here at a festival such as Hot Docs, and of course a platform such as this.
It's an extraordinary opportunity to have a film at Hot Docs, and it's such an honor to be included in the special presentations. This interview is exactly why. It helps people be aware of the film and its important message.
And what would you want your audience to take away from the film when they come and watch this film at the Hot Docs Festival?
I hope that people learn something about the AIDS epidemic they hadn't realized. I hope they realize how easy it is to blame and how wrong that is, to apply morality to a virus. And I hope it makes people more tolerant of others. That's the motivation of the film.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with your film. I'm pretty sure it'll do well. Thank you so much.